in the old town of Bagamoyo, where the ocean breeze carried both gossip and fish smell in equal measure. There lived a man named Abunuwasi, known across the land as a trickster, a poet, and sometimes, when the mood suited him, a philosopher. People said, when Abunuwasi speaks, even the law holds its breath. And that, my friend, is no exaggeration. One fine morning, when the sun was just beginning to roast the tin roofs of the market, a rich merchant named Mzee Baraka stormed into the court of Bagamoyo, dragging a man behind him. The man was Abunuwasi. Behind Abunuwasi walked a humble, tired-looking donkey, who appeared completely unaware that his name was about to enter legal history. "Your Honor," cried Mzee Baraka, waving his silk handkerchief as if he wanted to beat the air into submission. "This man, this storyteller, his donkey has ruined mine." Judge Mzee Jabiri raised an eyebrow. "Ruined? How can a donkey ruin another donkey? Unless they started a business together and failed." The courtroom erupted in laughter, but Mzee Baraka's face turned red. "I am not joking," he thundered. "My donkey was strong, obedient, and pure. But since this man's donkey spent 2 nights tied next to mine at the market, my donkey has changed. He brays all night, refuses to carry goods, and, worst of all, he looks sad. Clearly, this fellow's beast has spoiled him." The people in court began to whisper and chuckle. Abunuwasi bowed slightly. "Your Honor, may I speak for my client?" "Your client?" the judge asked, blinking. "Yes," said Abunuwasi with full seriousness. "The donkey." A long pause followed, then laughter exploded through the room. "Silence," shouted the judge, trying to hold back a smile. "Very well, Abunuwasi, you may defend your client." Abunuwasi adjusted his old kofia cap, cleared his throat, and looked at the judge with mock dignity. "Your Honor, I am deeply saddened that my donkey stands accused of corruption. He may be poor, but he is innocent. The merchant claims that my donkey's character somehow infected his. But I ask, if wisdom could travel like a disease, would not Mzee Baraka already be the wisest man in town?" Laughter again filled the courtroom. The merchant scowled. "This is nonsense." "Indeed," said Abunuwasi, "but whose nonsense shall we believe, yours or mine?" The judge tried to maintain order. "Abunuwasi, do you have any evidence?" "Of course," said Abunuwasi confidently. "But first, I must ask, what exactly did my donkey do to ruin the merchant's donkey?" Mzee Baraka puffed his chest. "He taught him laziness, disobedience, and disrespect." "Ah," said Abunuwasi, nodding solemnly, "so your donkey has learned bad manners. Tell me, Mzee Baraka, when a child learns to misbehave, do we blame the teacher or the parent?" Well, of course we blame the parent," said the merchant. "Excellent," said Abunuwasi, slapping his hands together. "Then I rest my case. Clearly, your donkey's bad behavior is your fault, not mine." The courtroom burst into laughter once more. But Abunuwasi was not finished. He stepped closer to the judge's bench and said, "Your Honor, if we truly wish for justice, then we must examine both donkeys. Perhaps it was not mine who spoiled his, but the other way around." Mzee Baraka gasped. "What? My donkey is of the highest breed, fed on dates and water from the river. Yours eats cassava peelings." Abunuwasi nodded. "Exactly, Your Honor. Imagine, my poor donkey, pure-hearted and innocent, standing next to a rich, spoiled animal, hearing all night about life in luxury. It is entirely possible that his donkey corrupted mine by teaching him jealousy." "Absurd," shouted the merchant. "Absurd indeed," said Abunuwasi, "but no more absurd than your claim." Judge Jabiri rubbed his chin, trying not to laugh. "This is becoming educational." Abunuwasi turned toward the merchant dramatically. "Tell me, Mzee Baraka, you are a man of wealth. You own ships, houses, and 10 servants. Yes, yes," said the merchant proudly. "And yet," continued Abunuwasi, "you spend your morning in court fighting over a donkey. A single donkey, worth less than one of your gold buttons." The crowd chuckled. "I came for justice," shouted Baraka. "Or for attention," said Abunuwasi calmly. "Sometimes the rich are like children. They cannot bear to lose." even in a game they invented. The merchant stomped his foot. You are mocking me. I am defending my client, said Abunuwasi. If my donkey truly has such power to spoil other donkeys, then he must be a genius. In that case, Your Honor, perhaps Mzee Baraka should compensate me for allowing his donkey to receive free education. The courtroom exploded with laughter so loud that the guard outside peeked in to see if the roof had fallen. Judge Jabiri leaned back in his chair, eyes twinkling. This is a difficult case. On one hand, we have a merchant who claims his donkey has been corrupted. On the other, a storyteller whose donkey is apparently a professor. The court laughed again. The judge continued, Abunuwasi, do you have a final statement before I pass judgment? Yes, Your Honor. He turned to the crowd, then to the judge, and spoke slowly, every word dripping with mock sincerity. In this town, we trade fish, cloth, and words, but the rarest thing of all is sense. The merchant believes laziness is contagious. If that is true, then I suggest he avoid standing next to himself for too long. Even the judge laughed at that one. Finally, the judge raised his gavel. I have decided, he said, since there is no evidence that one donkey can spoil another, I declare this case dismissed. Furthermore, Mzee Baraka must pay a fine for wasting the court's time. The merchant's jaw dropped. A fine? But why me? The judge smiled. Because, my friend, greed is also contagious, and today, you have tried to spread it. The courtroom cheered. Outside the court, people surrounded Abunuwasi. Abunuwasi, you turned the whole case upside down. He bowed dramatically. My friends, I merely spoke the truth. If logic cannot serve justice, then laughter must. Mzee Baraka came stomping out. Fuming, you may have won, Abunuwasi, but you made me a fool before the whole town. Abunuwasi smiled gently. Mzee Baraka, I did not make you a fool. I only introduced you to yourself. The crowd howled with laughter. Even the merchant couldn't hide a small, reluctant smile before he turned away. Abunuwasi patted his donkey's head. Come, my clever client, let us go home before someone accuses you of teaching goats how to argue. The donkey brayed, as if in agreement. That evening, as the sun sank into the ocean, people gathered in small groups, retelling the story of the trial of the two donkeys. Some said it was comedy, others said it was wisdom. But all agreed on one thing. In a world where greed speaks loudly, sometimes laughter must speak louder. And as for Abunuwasi, he never let the fame get to his head. When asked later how he managed to win the case, he simply said, it's easy. When a greedy man uses nonsense to get more, all you have to do is use better nonsense to stop him.